things first. My name is Jenna Wolf. His name is the Hall of Famer Chris Carter, and they call him Nick Wright. What?
Just taking out a pocket full of money?
What's happening?
Is this mocking me because you assume I lost money on Thursday Night Football? I did.
You say a pocket full of posies. Yeah. We like to get a pocket
full of money for Cece for some reason out on the
I was running a little bit late, couldn't put my wallet away, but good seeing you guys.
Literally something I've never done in my 20 years of television. Is take out a pocket full of money.
Saints plus 2.5. How does that not win? Saints plus 2.5.
Hello,
How does
America.
that not win? Hi, people.
America win.
Sorry you have to see us air our
Whatever
dirty
Nick
laundry.
Wright says, go the opposite
God,
way.
I'm on a cold streak, people.
Let's talk about those Saints, if you will. If you stayed up to watch the way the Thursday Night Football game ended, you stayed all the way up. This one came down to a late play. Drew Brees pass to the end zone, picked off by Deion Jones to help seal the win for the Falcons. Saints also lost rookie Alvin Kamara to a concussion early on. So Atlanta wins. They improved to 8-5 on the season with a very much-needed win for them. I start with you, Nick. How impressed were you by the Falcons last night?
Oh, I was not impressed by the Falcons last night. They got the win. It was a very important win for them to make the playoffs. It was a critical win, especially what they have the rest of the way. But I was not impressed by them. They tried to give this game away by their quarterback and by their coach multiple times. They took advantage of the fact that the Saints lost their most dynamic and most important playmaker early on in Alvin Kamara, and I give them credit for that. But Matt Ryan was downright bad, and Dan Quinn clearly has not learned any lessons from the Super Bowl when it comes to game management and clock management. Their end of the first half drive, where they get the ball with 1:44 left, they can obviously get points. They take a minute to get 11 yards and use a timeout. They are then going to go into the half with timeouts in their pocket.
Yes.
But then Matt Ryan throws a pick, so it doesn't matter. And then at the end, near the end of the game, you are playing a team coached by a man in Sean Payton, CC, who once did a surprise onside kick in the Super Bowl. The situation was, that people didn't know it, Saints down 3 at the 22. There's a penalty on a 3rd and inches. So your option is to accept the holding penalty and have them in 3rd and a little more than 10, or decline it and have them in 4th and inches. Dan Quinn declines it as if there was ever a chance Sean Payton was going to kick a field goal. Sean Payton, of course, then calls quarterback sneak. The Saints get it. It looks like the Saints are going to win until Drew Brees throws that terrible pass. So I wasn't impressed by Atlanta. I give them credit. They got a critical win, a bad loss for New Orleans. But this was a game of two teams trying to give it to the other one, and Atlanta ended up taking it.
Well, Atlanta, two things happened in their favor. One, the injury to Kamara early. That changed the complex of the game. I mean, those first couple plays that they were running, it looked like New Orleans was going to march up and down the field all night. But he gets hurt there early, so they try to make an adjustment. They're not as explosive without this dual threat running back-wise, because you have to be honest with yourself. Their wide receivers do not scare you. Like, their wide receivers aren't the type of group that they had when Drew Brees was throwing for 5,000 yards. Now, they are a quality group, but they don't have the explosive player in Brandon Cook. Their best receiver, Michael Thomas, is a possession receiver, a good receiver in his second year, had a tremendous rookie year. So the only thing you say, well, if you're not impressed with Atlanta and Matty Ice, the only thing that was more disappointing was Drew Brees, because this was a game where two quarterbacks played very bad. And then even after the mistakes and everything was set up for New Orleans to win, depending on Drew Brees cannot throw that ball down the middle. Now, the player makes a tremendous athletic play. Now, you can't account for that, but you can't put the ball in arm's way where you know at least you have a tie where you're going into overtime. You can't take that type of chance.
Cece, that's the key point to me. They weren't down 4 or 5 or 6. They didn't have to get the touchdown. The reason I said earlier you knew Sean Payton wasn't going to kick the field goal on 4th and inches, not because he wasn't ever going to kick a field goal, but you weren't going to tie the game with 1:40 left, give the ball back to Atlanta.
Right.
But it was totally on the board that drive happily for New Orleans ends with a field goal kicked with like 20 seconds left. They take their chances in overtime. So that is a critical error by Drew Brees because they were only down 3.
And the defense, Dan Quinn and the defense they designed was for New Orleans to be able to settle for the field goal. They were not going to play man-to-man. They were not going to blitz them to give them a free throw, because it's a lot easier to throw against man-to-man, especially in the closed part of the end zone, the red zone. They dropped 7 guys into coverage. You are not going to be able to find the hole down the middle when they drop 7 guys in that short of a distance. So a critical mistake by Drew Brees. And it wasn't like he had to make that throw.
Right.
He could have checked the ball down, thrown the ball away, lived to play another day. So Matty Ice and Drew Brees were not at the top of their game last
I know
night.
a win is a win, but this is not the win that you walk away from the game going, oh, I have confidence in the Falcons moving forward, that they're going to do something with this and it's going to infuse more confidence in them and they're going to take this. Remember that I just don't have the confidence in them. But we talked about yesterday the fact that on short days rest, the coaches are going to keep the game plan simple. They want to get in and out of this game without many injuries, go through, because they don't have many days to go through a number of different plays and whatnot. How much of the fact that they were playing Thursday night factored into, you didn't say big dynamic plays, you didn't say big plays out of the quarterbacks, maybe them keeping it a little safer, and then at the end, not playing very good games, either by Matt Ryan or by Drew Brees?
Well, I think it's very, very difficult to play your best football when people are familiar with you. Your division opponents, they know the things that you like to do. You go cross-conference, AFC, NFC, or you go in other divisions. They're not as familiar with you. I know this as a player. I knew that when I left playing to be a broadcaster, that, wow, I knew the NFC North. I knew the NFC, but, man, I really didn't know the AFC, and I had to be honest with myself. Players are not that familiar with the rest of the league. So it was going to be a tightly contested game, but once Kamara gets hurt,
that's the key.
It took the explosion out of them. Now, Atlanta, we know that they're scoring 11 points less than what they did last year. I mean, I think their average is like 22 points a game.
Right. Last year they were near 33.
Yeah,
exactly
so,
right.
you know, they were right where they wanted to be. They've been grinding out wins. But the thing about a win is a win. They got 8 wins. Let me tell you who would like to be there. The Lions with 6, the Packers with 6 wins, and the Cowboys with 6 wins. So being right now with those 8 wins,
I'll take it.
yes.
I totally agree with Chris that as far as the Saints side of it, you saw instantly Kamara was going to be featured. They were going to use Kamara like they did against Carolina. He was going to break tackles. He was going to be a terrible mismatch. Alvin Kamara, I mentioned Carolina, has been the guy Carolina thought they were getting with the 8th overall pick in Christian McCaffrey.
Wow.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, that's exactly who they thought they were getting 8th overall. The Saints got him in the 3rd round. Once he goes out, I mean, people raised their eyebrows at me a bit, or at least mocked me on Twitter, maybe not raised their eyebrows at me, when I said Kamara is an MVP candidate if running backs were allowed to win MVP. You saw yesterday how valuable he is to this offense. He's averaging 8.5 yards per touch. No one's averaged over 7.2 in 25 years as a running back. Like, it's unbelievable how important he is. And so, to me, that was the biggest factor in the Saints' offense bogging down. The factor in the Falcons' offense bogging down was terrible decisions by Matt Ryan. They were moving the ball at the end of the first half, terrible decision. At the beginning of the second half, it was bad luck. He hit Austin Hooper in the hands, and he drops the ball.
Yes.
But another awful decision to Julio Jones in the end zone. Like, I'm all for forcing it to Julio, but force that sucker high. Let the best athlete on the field try to go make a play.
Right,
So,
or him or no one else can catch it.
exactly right.
So one other thing I wanted to mention, in a season where we've seen some really bad decisions by players, yesterday we saw something that from Sean Payton that looked like an apparent choke sign late in the game, and I'm wondering if you guys saw it and what you thought of it.
So here it is for people. This is unbelievable.
if that's what it was.
They got
and what you
stopped
thought
on
of it.
3rd and 1 is the context. Devontae Freeman, and I mean, he looks like he's saying, I mean, maybe it's a play call, but I mean, it looked like he's saying choke. Devontae Freeman thought he was saying choke and doing that. So, CC, you know Sean Payton.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I think that I've had conversations with some coaches along the sideline, so this is not something that is foreign. Very seldom do they catch the head coach. They typically catch, you know, one of the assistant coaches doing things like that. When you venture into another team's bench, you will be shocked. I mean, everybody over there talks trash. I mean, the guy that's holding the water, you know, I run on Green Bay sideline, the guy was holding the water, say, get over there, chump. He's holding the water. So those NFL sidelines, some different things occur, and typically we're not used to seeing a head coach called in this. But Sean Payton, oh, not surprised. Sean's no amateur. Like, he is fiery. And I think that his overall personality behind the scenes as a coach, he is a hard-nosed football coach.
All right, so CC has a few tells, is what we'd say in the poker world, and some of the verbiage he uses. And one of the words CC uses or phrases he uses that is very complimentary is, that guy ain't no chump. And I've heard you say about Sean Payton multiple times, he ain't no chump now.
No.
So can you just open the window a little bit into what makes Sean Payton maybe a little different than your average buttoned-up head coach?
He has the personality that you would think that would be with a defensive coordinator. Now, he was mentored by Bill Parcells and everything. Now, Sean is a former quarterback, so he coaches from a defensive mentality as far as the way he attacks the defense. And I think his verbiage and the way he coaches like football coaches 40, 50 years ago coached. In your face, letting you know, so there's no time, Jenna, that you don't understand exactly what he's saying. And if you don't like that, you can go somewhere else, because he has his style, and he's a very good communicator, and the players really respect him. So a lot of times when you have that respect, you can coach a guy harder. Now, Sean Payton is a hard football coach who is very, very good, and probably doesn't get enough credit because the defenses have been so bad. And the coordinators that he selected have really kind of hurt his overall legacy. But he's one of the great coaches that we have in the game.
All right, let's talk some football now. It's America's Game of the Week. It's Eagles at Rams. Also, a possible preview of the NFC Conference Championship game. Also, a matchup of the top two picks in the 2016 draft, in Goss and Wentz. Also, shameless plug, the game's on Fox. Chris, the Rams are 2.5-point favorites in this one. Does that surprise you at all? The Eagles come to this, and yet the Rams are favorite?
No, it doesn't surprise me, because the Rams are the home team. And when you consider a matchup of this magnitude with two teams that are very similar in style and how they want to win games, you can understand they're favoring the home team. But this is going to come down to a couple of different things. First of all, I want to focus on the logistics of the week. Okay, the Philadelphia Eagles decided to stay out west after their game against the Seattle Seahawks in preparation for their game against the Rams. Now, I've done that twice in my career. Doesn't necessarily work out that second time around in that second game. No, because NFL players are creatures of habit. And so anytime you interrupt that routine that comes with the preparation for the week, it's going to be hard to get back on task. And I find that the Philadelphia Eagles, I think they're going to have a hard time trying to refocus with everything that's going on, especially with the headlines of what's happening out west with the wildfires. That's going to be on their mind. That's going to affect their preparation.
Just quickly before you go on, both these teams have had their habits disrupted. The Rams had to do a walkthrough instead of a practice because of the wildfires. Like what's going on in Los Angeles has disrupted everyone out there, including the football team. So go ahead.
Yeah, but I would say it would affect the visiting team more so than the home team.
But would you have wanted them to come back across the country to Philly and then go back around? We talked all week which was the better scenario, and it seems like at least staying in that time zone would have been better for the Eagles.
I'm just saying, Jenna, I've done it twice in my career, and it's never worked out in that second game. Now, Tom Coughlin believed in traveling back home and then going back out west, and doing that, you have a little bit better success rate, in my opinion. So I'm just looking at it from a preparation perspective. When you interrupt it, it's going to affect the players.
Right. I was never happy with it. I always was one of those kind of people that wants to coach an organization. They made a decision that I would make sure the message went to the rest of the guys with a positive spin on it. But I was hating it personally myself. And the reason why, because it made me, being a very, very private person, everyone had access to me now every day.
What do you mean everyone?
So on my off day, there wasn't no off day where I can just go hide, do my community programs that you did, get my massage, go to the chiropractor. No, I was going to some other chiropractor's office where other people had access to me compared to my normal chiropractor, where I go in the back, I have a normal appointment, other people are there half an hour, I'm there an hour, he takes care of me. He also does some
detailed description of your chiropractic work.
But he also, from a psychological standpoint, he would tell me things of when my body was going to recover, things I should watch out for during the week. So it would give me a roadmap before I even went to the team doctor, my masseuse. I'm getting 2 massages that week. Now I'm still getting 2 massages, but now I got someone else touching my body who I'm not used to. I don't have my family with me. Typically on Friday nights, I have date night or movie night, me and another couple on the team. So yeah, I'm into a routine. You know the reason why? Because if I do the same thing on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, if the game is on Sunday, it's liable to be some good stuff to happen. I just try to repeat the same performance week after week, and it's really hard to do it when you move the locale, especially on the West Coast.
It's all about trying to replicate your formula for success, right? That's what it comes down to. So looking at these 2 teams on the field from an X's and O's perspective, it's about the team that's able to establish the run against the opposing team's defensive front. I think the magic number is 25. Whichever team, whichever offense can get 25 rush attempts, I think that's going to dictate to the defense, make them drop that extra defender in the box and open up opportunities down the field in play action.
That's something good to watch.
No doubt about it. And looking at Jared Goff, looking at his statistics against 4 pass rushes or fewer, he's 65% completion percentage, 13 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. Jim Schwartz, he only likes to rush 4 now.
Yes.
That's him. He doesn't like to blitz a whole lot. So if they can establish the run with Todd Gurley, get that going, I think it's going to open up opportunities downfield for Sammy Watkins and Cooper Kupp. So watch out for that.
All right, let's talk a little Dallas Cowboys now. Dak Prescott heading to New York to face Eli Manning and the Giants. Cowboys 6-6. They need a lot of help to enter the playoff picture. What is the mindset of the team? Here's their quarterback.
Playoffs start now. Simple as that. You've got to embrace it if you play this game and you don't love that. If you don't love that fact that your back's against the wall and it's about what you do every week or every day that pays off on Sunday, that's what makes this game fun.
Chris Canty, Dak Prescott cannot go to Giants Stadium with the Giants playing the way they are and all the chaos they had and lose this game.
No, they can't because they actually have something to play for. They're not done in terms of their playoff hopes. So they got to come into MetLife with the right mindset. Now, there'll be a lot of emotion in the building, everything that happened with Eli Manning last week. And so the Giants, they'll be fired up for this ball game. And that'll last all about the first 5 minutes of the first quarter, and then we'll get back to football. And when you're looking at the football, the New York Giants have been awful. They're one-dimensional on offense. Whether it's Geno Smith or Eli Manning, it doesn't matter. They can't run the football. They've been relying on a passing attack. And after watching that Dallas Cowboys defensive front heat up against the Washington Redskins last week, seeing David Irving and Taco Charlton and DeMarcus Lawrence, who's having an all-pro season, go to town on Kirk Cousins, it's hard to not envision the same thing happening against a one-dimensional New York Giants offense. So I'm looking at this. I'm not saying that the Giants offense is going to gift the Dallas Cowboys 3 turnovers in the first half like the Redskins did and 1 special teams touchdown, but I am saying that this Dallas Cowboys defense is going to get after it and create opportunities for their offense.
And that's, to me, I'm glad you said that, because that, to me, is the key of the game, is the Cowboys defense putting their offense in position to win. The opposite of how they won last year. Last year they won because their offense consistently put their defense in position to win games. CC, you have talked about the importance of explosive plays for the Cowboys with Zeke being out.
Yes.
And they've been non-existent. The Cowboys have the 3rd fewest yards after catch of any team in the last 20 years. Think 20 years, the 3rd fewest yards after catch this season, the 2017 Dallas Cowboys. So when you're not getting yards after catch, and you don't have anyone except for, I guess, Bryce Butler and his 9 or 10 catches this year who can be an over-the-top threat.
Right.
That's when you need Zeke. They don't have Zeke. So you can't expect the offense to just methodically beat up on the Giants. It's going to have to be exactly what you said. The defense taking advantage of Giants' mistakes.
Jenna, you have any idea what the weather might be this weekend?
I know who does know. You.
So what do you think might be a possibility? It's been unseasonably warm here in the Northeast.
Yeah.
What do you think might be happening this weekend?
I think we were either going to get snow or some rain today, but then it changed, I think, more to rain. Tomorrow's going to be super cold because I have to take the kids outside, and I was told that I should just keep them inside. I can keep going. Now, Sunday, I'm not sure. Why don't you jump in because I'm just going to keep saying words.
Cold and snow. Definitely snow on Saturday.
Ooh.
Okay, so watch Dallas. If they can't throw the ball, all right? Now, snow doesn't help your passing attack.
No.
All right, so that's just something to watch. Also, last week, Geno Smith helped that offensive line because of his mobility. He was able to get out of more trouble than Eli would have been. So they're going to get after Eli in this game, and that's a constant.
Hey, the Lakers got a big win over the 76ers last night. Lonzo Ball had 10 points, 8 boards, 8 assists, including 1 to Brandon Ingram for the game-winning shot with less than a second to go. CC, was last night a step in the right direction for Lonzo, albeit a teeny little bitty sidestep?
Well, this is the thing. We got to stop being consumed with his overall stats, because when you're a point guard, I mean, if he's going to ever reach the level of Magic Johnson, I mean, you have to be a force multiplier. You got to make people better. Now, what I like was in critical situation, he drives to the hole, doesn't take the shot, but what it does puts pressure on the defense, because even though he's the worst shooter in the league, guys' instincts are to collapse to the hole. He's the worst three-point shooter, right, Nick?
Yep.
They ran to the three-point line to defend him. Him driving to the hole sucks the defense in. He makes someone else better, an open three-pointer. Yes, it is a good stat, but it's not based on a stat. It's based on making his team better, making his teammates better, and learning how to win NBA games, because that's how you get confidence.
Quick follow-up. Won't defenses eventually figure it out? Why go to him? He's never going to hit from
But
there.
in pressure situations, all NBA players can shoot. So you're not going to leave a guy wide open, uncontested, because he's going to make it. Their instincts will take over, and they will run to the three-point line.
CC, I agree with CC that in the waning moments, the instincts will take over. But what we have seen is exactly what you're discussing, which is in non-waning moments, the other parts of the game.
They go underneath the pick and roll.
And they just sag off him by 7-8 feet. So one of the reasons it's so important for LeBron to have shooters around him is not just because he can pass so well and get guys open threes, but if you have a shooter on the court, his defender has to stay close to him at the three-point line. That's one less body in the paint, so when LeBron drives, he doesn't have a lot of people to get around.
Right.
Yeah.
When Lonzo's out there, you have 5 guys guarding 4 essentially. So for Brandon Ingram to get to the bucket, for Kyle Kuzma to get to the bucket, there's more defenders in the paint. That's why he's been such a damaging offensive player. Okay. Because there's just more guys sagging off. So the reality is, though, yes, that was a great final play by Lonzo. It was great. And it was the play before he took a questionable 3, so I'm glad he had a chance to make up for it. I'm confident in saying this. Lonzo's a better defender than I thought he would be. He's as good of a passer as I thought he would be, which is a very high level. I mean, he almost had a 5-by-5 game yesterday where it's at least 5 in every statistical category. If he can fix his shot, he'll be what we thought he was going to be. We just didn't know the shot was going to be this broken. Yesterday, yes, it was a step in the right direction, but they're all going to be baby steps until he stops being the worst shooter in basketball.
All right, more news now from the Ball family. It's a day of the week, which means LeVar Ball did and/or said something strange as it relates to his children. Yesterday, LeVar announced both LiAngelo and LaMelo have signed with an agent and will attempt to play overseas. So this means that LaMelo will officially not be playing for UCLA. Here is LeVar on his decision.
We're trying to get to the Lakers as quick as possible, and we can't be sitting around doing nothing. So how about we go somewhere, I don't care where it is, and play.
You don't care where?
I don't care. We're playing Africa. We're playing on the moon. As long as both of them boys is out there balling, we'll make a new movie, call it Ball Jam.
Cece, what was your reaction to LeVar pushing his kids to play overseas? Taking one out of college, one out of high school, and now sending them overseas to play ball in Europe somewhere.
As a parent, and in my sports, the way it was, I mean, sports has just been so good. And this plane's going to crash. It's just a matter of where it's going to crash and how many times he decides to take it back up and crash it again. I mean, he's a poor example of a father trying to live his life through his kids. Now, he thinks that he's a better developer of talent. Now, what he did with his own talent, nothing. All right? He was a nothing ball player. And that don't make you a bad dad. It just makes you were not a good college basketball player. Now, in his dreams, his career was better. So now he thinks that he is a coach and developer of talent. Well, I've watched many of his AAU games. I heard him mic'd up. He's not a good coach. So for him to think that the system that we have in place in America, where kids go to high school, the best kids are recognized, they go to Division I. In Division I basketball, we have our second best coaches. They coach the kids. If the kids are good enough, they go to the pros where we have our best coaches and the best players play. So he's going to take them out of that system that has worked for almost 100 years of developing our best athletes and take his kids abroad. Well, so he's taken away my high school experience. So I can't go to the prom. I'm not going to find out what it's like to maybe have a girlfriend or, man, after the game, go to McDonald's with my buddies and horse off and get a sundae. I'm going to take that from him. The other kid, he's taking away his college education. I mean, being at UCLA the short period, he's already taken him abroad. Well, no one told him to steal nothing when he was abroad, but that's part of your education as a human being. So now, as a dad, we're supposed to be adding these things to our kids' life. He's taken things away from his kids that I don't think are replaceable. I would never give up my high school days of playing with Dwight and Jimmy and my boy Toogie and going to Frisch's afterwards and having a pass and putting all our money and trying to say, hey, man, this is what we're going to be able to get tonight, and getting gas money, how we was going to get to the gym, all those things, and then going to Ohio State and all the lessons that those things taught me as a young man. I would never substitute any of those. So now his overall experience, he's going to take these away from the kids. So for me, he is robbing these kids of a potential, a balanced life.
Nick, can I just ask you this? Doesn't it feel like he stopped letting them live their lives, that he's living vicariously through them? At some point, he's like, it becomes about him.
Definitely. I don't know why I'm reacting the way I am. I'm like shockingly emotional right now. I thought I knew that we were talking about this.
Well, Nick, you know, because from the beginning, Nick, you were one of the people been like, man, this guy's a good dad.
Yeah, you said that.
You know, man, to get 3 scholarships, like, yeah.
But you were right.
But it's not about me. I wasn't right. But that's not the. So maybe because I'm thinking of my son. I don't know. I don't.
Your son played against him this summer, right?
Yeah.
On the same court.
And so it's just. For this kid,
Nick,
man.
What would your son do to be a Division I basketball player?
Right. Maybe that's so. My son was a fringe. He had some people recruiting him going into a senior year of high school. He was a teenager. A couple bad choices, a couple bad games. All of a sudden, he's no longer recruited for Division I basketball. He's living 3,500 miles away from me in the desert, at a junior college, trying to get a shot.
Getting up at 5 in the morning and for practice.
And so I know, and when CeCe said after the McDonald's thing, man, these are the things that turn you into the person you become. And I've had an amazing life. I've been so lucky. I didn't play college sports, but the happiest time of my life to this day was my 4 years at Syracuse. I know what Ohio State meant to Chris. I know what, like, young athletes, the camaraderie, the time away from your parents. My son came back for Thanksgiving for 3 days, and I walked around Times Square with him. And he was a man. Like, not a grown man, but in 3 months away from me and his mom, I saw what it did for him. For good or for bad. And I just feel so badly for these two boys. Like, LiAngelo, I hope he becomes a pro. He's probably not a pro. But guess what? He could have been the man. Not only a scholarship athlete, but a lot of money in his pocket, famous at UCLA. LiAngelo's a pretty boy with funny hair, driving a Lamborghini, LaMelo, pardon me, who is going to be was going to be a star college player. Don't take that from these boys, man. Like, for what? The Carnival Barker WWE stuff is fine when it's all make-believe. When it's all, I beat Michael Jordan one-on-one, I've never lost, all that stuff. But not when you're doing this to your kids, man.
You had no other choice, all right? The reason why, Lonzo's gone. Lonzo's being paid by the Lakers. So how do I make money? The only way I can make money, Nick, is insert myself in this story and make this a reality. And the only way that would validate my reality TV would be for me to make outrageous decisions. Because if the kids had gone to high school and played, he's not part of the story. If the kid had stayed in college, He ain't coaching them. Steve Alford's coaching them. So these decisions are not what's best for the kids. These are what's best economically for LeVar. So that's what this is. And this is a money grab for him.
I'm 33 years old with a college degree. I am not prepared to go live in some random country in Europe. When he says, I don't care where it is. Well, you know who probably does?
Them.
The kids who got to play, learn a new language. LaMelo, who's got to get some form of an education.
Welcome back to First Things First. Look at this. We got not one but two Hall of Famers on that side of the desk. We've got Chris Carter. Now we've got Isiah Thomas.
Man.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Great to have you.
It is good to be here.
Can you real quick before we get into it, tell me if these things are true. So you knew Chris's older brother, Butch.
I knew the family.
Knew the family.
Tough family.
Chris
tough
claims
brothers.
when he was 14, 15 years old, he's playing basketball with Isiah Thomas.
That is true.
That's a true story.
That is true.
That used to be one of the highlights.
Yeah.
When I visited, he showed me all his dribbling drills. He played me one-on-one, left-handed. I think he took my money because we had a little bet. I can't remember if he accepted it because, Isaiah's not one to turn down a bet.
Right.
Beat up on me as a 14-year-old, left-handed only.
That's because his older brother was showing me the ropes. When I first got to Indiana, I played with his older brother, Butch. And like I say, you want to talk about a captain, somebody tough who taught you the ropes. His older brother was great to us.
Nice.
He took our money, but he was great to us.
It's a theme. It's a theme. All right, so since we've got one of the best point guards ever with us, let's talk about the most hyped point guard in recent memory. Nice game for Lonzo Ball last night. 10 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, including one to Brandon Ingram for the game winner. But on the season, Lonzo's still shooting just 32% from the field and 24% from three. So, Isiah, I ask you, does Lonzo look more like a bust or a star in the very slow making?
I think he's going to be a star in the slow making. It's always difficult to come into Los Angeles and be what Magic Johnson was at 19. That very rarely happens. But where he's at right now and where he's progressing, he's touching every box on the stat sheet. He rebounds, he assists, he's a great teammate. I've never heard any of his teammates complaining about him, whether he was in high school, at UCLA, and even now. And his father has a big personality, but he doesn't. I mean, when he looks like he's a guy that you want to play with. And if he was averaging 12 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists, it would be a totally different conversation. But because he's not in double figures yet, and I think he will be, his shot will get better, his free throw shooting will get better, he'll learn how to score in the NBA. He's doing all the hard things right now in terms of defending, rebounding, and assisting. Scoring is the easy thing to do in the NBA right now.
The only question I would have is if scoring's
no, he's not a bust.
If scoring's the easy thing for almost everyone that doesn't have that shot. Yeah. Like that, I mean, there is an X factor in this that you can't apply to most other rookies that come in and struggle, which is he has. I know we've seen some great shooters with unorthodox shots, but his is extra unorthodox, takes extra long, and so does that. That doesn't. How do you change that? How do you fix that, or would you not change it?
He's got to shoot more. He's got to practice more. I played against a guy by the name of Michael Adams. Remember Michael Adams had that little weird. I was like, no way he can make that shot. I think he was averaging 24, 25 in the league at one time.
Yes.
Reggie Miller. Every coach that Reggie Miller had tried to change his shot. And only thing you need to do now is just practice. What Ball's got to get in the gym and do, he's got to keep practicing, getting better, and he's got to learn how to get his shot off going right and going left. Once he learns how to do that, and he will, because Chris, once you go around the block a couple of times, as a rookie, everybody don't come in as a rookie and dominate. You got to go around the league once or twice before you figure guys out. And once you figure him out, you'll learn how to score.
I know he's 19, and it's not fair, but it's what it is. He was drafted the first pick by Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
Now, at 19, you and Magic, childhood friends.
Yeah.
Explain to people who Magic was at 19, his personality, athleticism, how hard he worked, his drive, compared to Ball, because if he's going to live, you mentioned it, I didn't mention it, but Magic did draft him. But I knew Magic.
Yeah.
And Magic is a freak, man.
Yeah.
On and off the court. And the total difference is, I think that you can illuminate on and let fans know how different they really are right now.
Magic was a guy like, you could be walking through the airport. It could be 5, 6, 8, 6, 9 guys walking through the airport, and they all the same size, but everybody just looked at Magic. I mean, your eyes just was drawn to him. He had the charisma. He just had that.
He was a natural leader.
He had that thing, right? And as you said, he was a natural leader. He was a winner. And what he also had was an unbelievable work ethic.
Yes.
What I see in Ball, right? I see a kid that works. He's going to get better. This isn't what he's going to be 2, 3 years from now. Mm-hmm. Now what he won't have that Magic had, he won't ever get the personality. But in terms of leadership skills and people wanting to play with him and play for him, he seems to have that already with his teammates.
Let me ask you a question. You coached a team, you have run a team. As someone that has been in that position, how much would someone like LeVar Ball be a distraction or be someone you just wouldn't want to deal with and have around all the time? Because we keep hearing that it's not a problem for the Lakers, but yet it feels like it is in many ways.
Before you answer this, though, Isiah, we come from some crazy families, okay?
That's what I was getting ready to
Now, I mean, we got crazy people around us, and we've been with other kids in situations that were worse than ours.
Yeah.
Like, we know we would be lost without our mothers.
Absolutely.
We know we would be lost without our brothers.
Absolutely.
So this is unique to some people, but for us, not that unique.
So I had a brother by the name of Gregory. And when I was young, I couldn't say Gregory, so I called him Gay, right? And so everybody knew him as Gay. Did he rob you?
No. No.
Because my brother used to rob everybody.
You introduced me to him.
Yeah, my brother would rob my friends.
But I do remember him being at the game in Indiana and showed up at the game with no tickets and 12 people and told the usher, I brought the show. He said, what? I brought Isiah here. I'm Gay.
Yeah.
Open up the gate. He said, how many with you? He said, I don't know. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 12, sir. They let him in the game at Indiana University.
Yeah. And Coach Knight didn't say anything, right?
No.
So what I'm saying is, this isn't a new thing. The only new thing is y'all know about it now because we got social media, Facebook, Twitter, so forth and so on. The NBA has handled this forever. Hey, my mom, rest her soul, when she first came in the game, her and my aunt, they would come to the game. They was packing. Right? They'd be sitting in there.
No, not a purse. We talking about a gun, people.
Yeah, they would be sitting.
That's what that means. South side of Chicago.
Yeah, the west side.
West side, yes.
They'd be sitting at the game, and they would cook the chicken at home, right? And they would bring it to the game, and they'd be like, "Get off, Junior," you know. and people think I'm lying. And I remember by the third quarter, right? My mom, she'd be a little lit, right? She'd be a little lit. And I remember Earl Strom coming over and saying, "Hey, can you tell your mother to quit cursing me out?" I say, "Hey, look, I can't talk to her." But I'm just saying what Ball is now, right? What y'all starting to see and what people, the NBA has dealt with this historically. The NFL has dealt with this historically. Y'all just finding out about it now as fans.
Can I just say one thing? Maybe it's a cultural thing. I just want to make sure I understand it. Your mom would show up at games eating non-stadium food, which sometimes they frown upon, with a gun, with packing. And sometimes she would drink a little alcohol.
A lot of alcohol.
And then she would like, I wanted to recap for anyone that didn't quite.
Give her proper respect.
But back
she
then.
She needed a reality show.
Yeah, but
I'm
back
just saying.
No, if
how many kids
Lord
mama
have
raised,
mercy.
man?
Lord have
How
mercy.
many kids mama raised?
It's 9 of us.
Oh,
I had 6 brothers, 2 sisters, right? I'm the 7th boy. And, Mom, it was, there's the poverty line, and then there's that line below poverty where the Census Bureau don't count you. We was that, right? And so, when we got to the NBA, it was like, hey, Junior!
Everybody's in the NBA.
Yeah. I mean,
when you come to the league, the hood come with you.
And it was all right. It was all right. But where we are now, right, everybody's grown. You get a little bit more polish. You understand what to do, how to have an interview, what to say, so forth and so on. But coming in, you don't know any of that stuff. And the families don't know any of that. But they learn. And 2 years from now, 3 years from now, the ball group, they'll be better at what they're doing.
Yeah, I saw Mama get better. Mama left Chicago. Mama left Detroit. Mama got her a place down on the beach down in South Florida.
Yes.
Of all the people that I've asked that question to, I've not gotten a better response, a more colorful, lively, and spirited response than that one. So amen to you. I totally get it now. I totally get it. Hall of Famer Isiah Thomas back with us, and we're talking LeBron James and the never-ending comparisons to one Michael Jordan. LeBron added some fuel to the fire when he appeared to replicate some of MJ's moves Monday against the Bulls. And for the real conspiracy theorists out there, he also scored 23 points in the house that Jordan built. LeBron was asked if this was more than a coincidence. Take a listen.
No. I heard that. I heard the spin and the fadeaway. But I heard about that. Also heard that I scored 23 on purpose because I was it's crazy. I don't know. Yeah, I did it all because of MJ. Let's create some stories. I like it. I'll be able to name a retro after that.
All right, Isiah, I have to ask you this question. It is a topic we have debated many times on this show. Who is the better all-time player, LeBron or Michael?
Well, I'm going to say neither. In my opinion, neither one of them are. And I've been on record saying this. To me, the greatest player to ever play the game that I've seen is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And arguably the best basketball career ever, from grade school to high school to college to the NBA. There has never been a more dominant player that I've ever seen. I think he lost, one time in college? I don't know if he lost in high school. If he did, we'll give him one.
Powers High School.
Who was the best player in
We'll give him one in grade school, right? So, okay, and then you go into the NBA when you talk about the most points, the most rebounds. Now, if you want to eliminate him from the category,
there you go.
So we're going to say the greatest player to ever play.
Greatest non-center. Do it that way. So
okay.
Throw out all the centers. Yeah.
So that's the criteria. So now we're just going to have a criteria of terms of who's the greatest player from 6'5" to 6'8".
Sure. Well, how about who's better, LeBron or Michael?
The best scorer, I would say Jordan is a better scorer. Better all-around player is LeBron James.
The all-around player is, again, remove centers. Like is LeBron the best all-around player you've ever seen?
If we're eliminating categories, you have to say all around, yes.
Well, let's go any category.
Yeah.
Who are the best players in any category?
To
height,
me,
weight, doesn't matter.
I mean, you know, Chris, in terms of athletes, right?
Yes.
If you bigger, faster, and stronger, you got an edge, right?
Yeah.
And then if you smarter, you probably gonna win. Right? The only advantage that little guys have against bigger, faster, stronger guys is we're smarter than they are, or they make a mistake. But if they don't make a mistake, the bigger, faster, stronger person is going to win, right? And LeBron James, he's bigger than Michael. He's faster than Michael. He's stronger than Michael. And if he don't make a mistake, he's going to win. What Jordan had over all of us, right? When he came in, we hadn't seen anything like that from
How so?
as an athlete.
What do you mean?
Well, he had a 42-inch vertical, and you was like, you good on the ground, right?
Right.
You
We
can
had saw
slide with him
Dr.
every
J,
day.
but Dr. J couldn't shoot, and he couldn't jump as high vertically, quick jumping, double jumping like Mike.
Yeah, we slide, right? And then Chuck say, stay with him. Chuck Daly, our coach. All right, I'm with him. And then he jump, and you go,
Not so much, Coach.
I can't do nothing about that. But everybody, he was the only one that had that type of vertical. But now when you look in the NBA, it's 3 guys on every team that's an athlete like him.
Right.
So when you look at LeBron James, what separates LeBron James in the East right now, right? He's the best athlete. He's bigger than Kyrie Irving, right? He's bigger than DeMar DeRozan. He's bigger, faster, stronger.
Yes.
He's got a handle. He's got skill. So that's the thing that separates him.
So you're one of the few guys. It's not a long list of guys that have been the best player on a team to make the NBA Finals 3 years in a row. Like you're on that list, and the list of guys that have been the best player to make the Finals on a team 4 years in a row. It's Bill Russell, it's Magic Johnson, it's Larry Bird, and Magic maybe it's some argument because maybe Kareem was the best player one of those years, and it's LeBron James. We can talk when we do LeBron v. Jordan.
So can I give you that small man category?
What?
Because since you be changing the categories and the criteria on me, so now can we just add another? Can we just add another line to it? Because all them guys
give him
you
another
just
drink.
named
He's gonna
are
be here
really, really tall.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
So like
you're the best.
the little people that made it.
No doubt. I'm with it.
So the little people that made it, okay, ain't none of them.
But just you.
Okay, all right.
Just you.
All right, okay.
But here's my question though in regard to that, because to me the most impressive thing about LeBron is not the field goal percentage or that he's been 27-7-7 since his second year in the league and still to this day. It's year 15. Still the best player in the league. You're saying still maybe the best athlete in the league. It's not 4 straight finals. It's 7 straight finals. Can you tell the audience how exhausting those long playoff runs year after year after year are? Because the vast majority of even great players have not experienced what you experienced, having to lead a team into June 3 years in a row.
So the two things that I'm really blown away by, is the 15-year stretch, but then to come out of high school and go to the NBA Finals. You don't do that in our league.
Yeah, it's a grown man league.
You don't come from high school and dominate in the NBA unless you want to, the greatest ever. But then to have the sustainability, and what you say, the 15th year, to be able to sustain concentration, because he's probably not the best athlete right now, but he's the Einstein of basketball right now. He's the smartest player in the league right now, bar none, right? So to be able to concentrate that long and sustain concentration for this longer period of time, there's only maybe 2 players have ever done it, and that's Russell, Kareem, and now LeBron.
Maybe Karl Malone.
No, I ain't giving you that.
Okay.
No, because I'm going to give you Stockton before Malone.
Oh, okay.
Right?
And the little guy.
No, yeah.
Well,
They do need some representation.
Yeah.
Based in his world of all big people.
I mean, Kareem dominated for 3 decades, 70s, 80s. His last NBA final was 1988 against us. That was his last game. He came in 1970. And LeBron James, right? He may go to finals again this year. So you're talking about 2 decades of domination, not 5 years. But you're talking about 15 years, this dude gonna be in the finals.
And I know you're probably still bitter about the whistle, but in that last NBA final from Kareem.
I ain't bitter, I'm mad.
Okay, you're mad about the whistle. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, final, biggest play of the game.
Man, let's check to see if he packed it now. They West Side, they go hard.
No, but if people don't know.
I left it in the back.
Careful now. But who did the Lakers run the biggest play of their season for in the NBA Finals in 1988 when Kareem's been in the league almost 20 years?
Now, every year it went to Kareem. Magic Johnson came down and he said, boom. And Kareem
shaky
did his
whistle
thing.
on that one.
Yeah, it was a bad whistle. It was terrible. As a matter of fact, I may even go so far as to say they cheated.
Real quick, who are you going to see in the finals this year? Pick a team from the East and a team from the West.
I'm going with Cleveland, and I'm going Golden State again.
Hold on, that can't be. We can't be done. We have to. They said we have until 56. We're taking every last second from Isiah
we
Thomas.
can go overtime.
All right. So who has? I'm not going to put any of my friends on blast, but there might be a gentleman I know who has about 1,100 catches, about 130 touchdowns in the NFL Hall of Fame, who says
best route runner ever.
There might be someone I know who says Kyrie Irving has the best handle in NBA history.
No, I didn't say that.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
I just said there might be someone I know.
I know Jenna didn't say it.
I ain't going to disagree with that, but what I am going to say is if I'm in the conversation with him, I'm real happy. Because
listen, this is what I told him, Z. All right? When I was 13 years old, I saw you doing what Steph Curry and everyone on YouTube, Sports Center, is all gaga goo-goo over. I watched you do that with me. Yeah. 2 balls, left, right, behind, like that. You did that with me personally. Wasn't nobody watching. You're the first person I ever to see do it. And now to see someone in 2016 do it and act like I'm all surprised and everything.
He said all that, and then he said, but Kyrie's a better ball handler.
No. But I'm going to say this, right? If y'all said that, I ain't mad. Now, if y'all say that about anybody else,
Okay, so Kyrie's the only person you're okay being compared to you ball handling.
Yeah, I look at Kyrie. So I learned how to dribble from Curly Neal, and Marcus Haynes, right? Kyrie got all that stuff. He can pat it, right? And he can dribble it. A lot of guys can't pat it. And when I'm talking about patting it, you got to get down on, one finger and play the piano with it and dribble around with it, right? That's patting it. And then you got to be able to dribble. Kyrie can do all of that.
Thank you for listening to the First Things First podcast. Remember, leave us a review and tell us what you think. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts and catch us on FS1 Monday through Friday, 6:30 a.m. Eastern. For Chris Carter and Nick Wright, I'm Jenna Wolf. So long, everybody.